Hello everyone, this is Alan. I'm pulling up the camera right now. I hope you all can see me. Here we are, in a half an hour or less. We are going to talk about, we're going to talk about week 11, and this week is reflecting on your learning journey. We don't have a review sheet, but we can talk about our journey, or I can review my journey on this workshop course that I created for folks like yourself who are interested in visual literacy, poetry, and visual arts, and arts in general. Today we are reflecting on the growth and achievements. We're reflecting on visual, and I'm going to show you the visualizations of the learning journey that we have created, or I created with you, and then you can review your own notes. And the goal of today will be visualization, reflection, the learning journey, including milestones and achievements. Now, I can only tell you what my achievements were, but I hope that helps your achievements. So here we go. And excuse me if you sense the flickering. Here we go. All right. We have a few files. Okay, let's see if we can pull them up. We have from week 6. Let's see. I'm trying to get earlier ones. But of course, when you're looking for something, you can't find it. So let's see here. We'll say downloads, week 1. Okay. It seems not to have week 1 there. Let's see if we have anything here. Files, week 1. All right, save documents and pictures. Okay, nothing there. So we go to our trusty Canva. We open up a new file, home. And we go into, first we looked at, and we go into projects, because most of our work was created in Canva, so that should be easier for you as well as for me to access, hopefully. All right. All right. So images. And I'll just write collage here because it seems like all right. So we have and I'm going to just point to it because you can see it right on your screen. If not, I hope you're able to access your file. I'm trying to turn off these. All right, do not disturb. Okay, so this right here is our file for our collage. Remember, we did the collage, and this is your first milestone, of course. We did a collage, and we talked about annotating poetry. And we talked about putting pictures with your poetry. And of course, we created the collage first, then we put a poetry with it. See if that can come up, show you the image. Here you are. All right. And we use the gratitude, we don't share. You are welcome here. And then there is the poem that we annotated from. And we did that, I believe, in the first 2 weeks. So that is your milestone for that. Then we went into, let's see if we can bring that up. Okay. Go back into files. My approach, okay. All right. So Canva's not very well accessible here. Then we went into okay. Let's see if we can pull up week 3 here. I'm flipping between files, so it'll be easier for you as well as for me to access. Okay. Okay. And okay, so we must have done that to week 3, and then we were talking about visual literacy images and how to create a visual image, and then we were talking about that and how to not only align your words but also create a document with words and images, and of course using layering and so forth. Then we went into how does that affect our let's see if I can bring that up here. Okay, visual literacy. Okay, that was that one. Okay, so we got that one, visual images. And then this one was visual literacy combining forms. Okay, so different forms. Let's see if we can find something with that to show you. And okay. Okay, it keeps on coming up with this. Now, we didn't talk about websites, so we're not going to get into that. We're trying to okay. So we went to 4 and then we went into 6. I guess we were talking about personal artistry, and that has to do with your sensory. I think we talked about sensory. Yep, we talked about sensory, and we looked at the difference between visual literacy and visual art, and that's about your sensory sounds and your organization. And then we went over to poetry, and we talked about putting words, which is a different form. So that sort of is a milestone where we talked about visual literacy and the different forms of artistry. And then we reorganized ourselves. And let's see if we can. Okay, so it doesn't come up with 7, but we're going to show all. Okay. And here we are about how to contribute to and engage with your creative community, which is also establishing your creative community and what that is. But first I wanted to go back to a couple of things that I don't see here. Go home. Folder. Go back into Canva. And of course you can find this all in your projects. Should be able to locate that in your projects or your files. Because I'm going to show you a milestone that I really want you to have. So let's see if we can find. We have the collages, we have the annotation, that's the first, but before that we have the Venn diagram, and I don't know where that is, but I guess we have to keep on going down here. For some odd reason it's not coming up. I'm going to see if I can get it on the side here. There we go. Okay, so this is one I wanted you to know from 3, because this has the something to do. So we're just going a little back, because we did talk about this extremely. It's a visual narratology, diagramming. So we talked about the rising and the creation of fiction or story or poetry, and how that relates to visual forms of writing, and also, you know, visual literacy of writing. So, and then I wanted to also find we did so much work, so just have to go through this again, and we'll go through it next week, the following video too. Let's see if I can pull it up. It seems to be very in detailed here. Okay, we can't bring it up there. Let's see if we can bring it up Google. Google Docs. There we go. Okay. And I'm just going to try to bring up the images themselves. Venn diagram for the first week. This is definitely a milestone, so you should know this, where we separated the differences, and you should have notes on this as soon as it comes up. And I'll just point out a couple things to connect you to week 3, and not to confuse you. It is still processing. Okay, it seems to not be showing our whole document, so let's see if we can find more. And we'll just go right down the list here, and then we'll work our way back, so it's easier for me and easier for you, hopefully. All right, so here we are. Took a minute, and I really mapped this out for you. Hopefully this will help. Some things you need to know is that we don't have the circles coming. Of course, the circles are coming, but what we do have is in the middle we have visual literacy, and on the side, on the right hand side, we have poetry, and what are the and the additional vocabulary underneath. These are, I guess you would say, the elements. So what we did is we went from visual literacy, and we looked at images and patterns and all the elements that go into visual literacy. Then we worked our way back into visual art, and we narrowed down our scope, and we seen that the designs and how to relate those images. Oh, excuse me, I may be wrong. We did these images and patterns, then we went to poetry. Excuse me, I was just reminded of that. And we talked about sensory. That's right, because we were talking about pets, people, and things, and how that relates to our sensory of seeing. And we talk about compare and contrast, and how that relates to our narrative structure. And that's how we got into this, I believe. Right into that. Okay. And then I think those are like two milestones that we took right off the bat. We went right into them quickly. And what I'm trying to find out for you is this one. And this is week 4. This is what we came up with when we transitioned from poetry, and we talked about the different narrative structures. Remember, we did the annotation, and then we did of poetry. I'm sure you remember that because we just talked about it. And then we went into talking about just the structures of the story, if you will, and the middle, beginning, middle, and ending that every story has, from fiction to nonfiction, from poetry to not poetry, from short stories and children's stories. And so then I wanted to keep on going here. And then we have artistry. And I showed you my way of putting a poem to a picture, and how I used images to do that. And this starts to talk about form, if we haven't talked about form already when we did the narrative structure. And then we went into design, after we kind of mapped this out for ourselves to show people how pictures, visual art, can also annotate a poem or story or writing. Then we went into design, visual art, and we talked about the what's in the house, and then we decided to represent the arrangement into the what's in the house, which is the what's are the line, shape, form, color, or colors, shading, and texture. We could have called shading value. How we did pattern, contrast, emphasis, balance, and harmony and movement. So we did that, and then we are on. Let's see what we did for 7. And then we talked about so everybody does that different. Then we talked, let's see, then we talked about our own ways of collaborating as visual artists, and how to contribute, how do we individually contribute to our community. But of course, let me backtrack and say, remember that you have to also select your what and how, to narrow down your scope or niche of service or visual art. Because once you have your visual art, you can also use that for your service. So that is a milestone also. You have to know how to identify parts of poetry. You need to know how to diagram it. And then you need to know how to connect visual literacy to not only poetry, but also back to visual art, and that's creating your own artistry. And then did that. And anyway, I'll do this. And then we see if we have this still. Okay, so it's finding it's recording in a different way. I hope you get an image for this. And so then we went into community and how can we best serve our community. All right, and we talked about collaborating and collaborating strategies. So if someone or somebody or something has also the same strategies as you and you're working on women's issues or dog health issues or personal health issues or service dog issues or want to portray family and the healthy family, then that's one way of doing that. Let's see. And so we talked about that, and I think that those three or four milestones really brought us into exploring our career and what we were going to do to refine our own career. And you are going to give yourself an outline of how to map that out for yourself visually as well as writing it out. How to earn money from your poetry, how to earn money as you're an illustrated artist, how to earn money as a visual literacy or graphic designer. So that all brings it out to that. And then I just wanted to show you, of course, see if I can bring that up for you, my webpage, and show you how I did it, because we talked about this and I've improved on it a little bit, and it takes a little minute to get it going here. So diagramming your narrative structure, your vocabulary for your words, so forth and so on. Creating your own style, if you will, of art or visual literacy, and carrying that through your career and trying to find out who other artists who do the same thing as you. And this is what I did for my work. I showed you a poetry verse and lyrics verse and authorship. Showed you that. I gave you a mission statement. Don't forget your mission statement. These are books that I've done. So I really get involved in the writing, but I also have visual art, which is mostly has to do with symbolism and signs. Very little writing. However, there's Egyptian writing on this far image right here. And then, of course, I coupled it with other images of different kinds. And you can see background. And then, of course, I get my resume in here. But mostly, what I wanted to show you is this is the artwork. And, of course, again, imagery is my big thing. And these are all textured images. And these are my values as a visual artist. And these are all textured images, but also illustrated images. And I focus in on creativity, inclusion, and diversity. And if you want to find more, then you can click on this website, which is Alan Tompkins portfolio.my.canva.com, and you'll find it, or so that's where we are for this week, and I hope this helps, and we'll go over more on the next video. All right, so take care and hang in there and keep on studying your work and keep on reading other artists' work. Okay, take care. Bye.